What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Frank from Bangin Gears. Welcome to this episode. We got a couple of guest speakers tonight. I'm going to bring them in. We're going to talk about cigars, and I got a couple of car guys as well who might be popping in a few minutes. And we're going to talk about we're going to show some other cars that are not Cobras. I know you guys are getting sick and tired of me keep showing up with same cars over and over because, it's my favorite car. But what we have tonight is we have a couple of guys from my local cigar shop, Tobacconology. They have two locations, one in Manassas and one in Haymarket, which is the one I frequent the most. But we have their about what's hot in the industry right now, what's not, what you should be smoking, what you should not be smoking, and all the rumors you guys are hearing about different companies and the coronavirus. Then we're also going to have, And then we're also going to have Malu, who is going to talk about who is a female, which is, in the cigar world, you don't see many female smokers. She's going to talk about, being a woman and smoking and some of the I don't want to say taboos, but some of a different perspective on the cigar smoking field from a woman's point of view. So if you guys have any questions in the chat, you want to jump in, absolutely. But we'll start off. Prem, we'll start off with you guys first.
Okay. Welcome, everybody. I'm Prem Grewal. I actually run our Haymarket shop. Malu is one of our team members. She actually works at both of the shops with us. So good way to get some insight on what's going on, any questions you may have on what's happening in the industry, things like that. It's a weird time in the industry right now. You've probably been hearing a lot of the rumors of things being shut down, supply being hard, and it's true. Just recently, we heard that some of the factories down in the DR, Nicaragua, things like that, were slowly starting to open back up. A lot of the smaller factories in places like Florida are still really not producing. So it's a little bit of a hard time. And what you're finding is it's affecting the distribution chains. So getting supply to the shops and through your local B&Ms is a little harder right now. So you just got to be patient with us. I mean, we're trying to do the best we can with what we have.
And you guys are doing a ton of mail order. I saw online today. Mm-hmm. So how's that working out? You find that a lot more people. So is your mail order local or your mail order going out?
Really? We have members of our group that we broadcast those specials through that are all over the place in the United States. So it's something that it makes its way across the country. We've got people out in Vegas. I mean, all over the place.
Very, very cool. Very cool. And Malu, so what's it like sitting around with a group of guys smoking cigars? Because, like I said, when we hang out at the shop, maybe in a week, there's maybe like one or two women who come in consistently and smoke. Yeah. So how's that perspective?
It's definitely different. I know that this is a male-dominated industry, and for a female to be in the group, it is different. But I do believe that we are being a little bit more accepted as time goes on. There are a lot more women who do enjoy, really, really, truly enjoy smoking a good cigar, and they can appreciate the craftsmanship and the flavors of the tobacco. So it's nice to be able to, talk to people and get another perspective on what it's like to be, in the industry and everything. So I've enjoyed it. I've not had a whole lot of negative interactions, but there've been a few.
Right.
One of the things that I've seen is, to Malu's point, is that there are a lot more female cigar smokers, but what you find is that the guys come in and they buy cigars for their wives. Mm-hmm. You don't see the wives come in a lot. And, you know, what I've gotten just talking to when I do see the wives on the rare occasion, or just talking to the husbands that are coming in, is they kind of have delegated shops like this as the guy space, you know, and they prefer to smoke in private with their husbands at home, or in small groups and small gatherings like that. Trust me, we'd prefer to see more female smokers in the shop. It definitely makes for a different dynamic, a better dynamic.
Mm-hmm. And there are a few shops that I've been to where there's been a good ratio of male to female smokers.
Mm-hmm.
And you met so many amazing people at these shops, because you get a lot of different perspectives with the male versus female interaction.
So now on the flip side, because you're an employee, do you find, so here's my real question. So if the both of you are in the shop at the same time, do you find more customers go to Prem than you?
Absolutely.
Really?
I think when they see a female there, they automatically assume that I don't know what I'm talking about. You know, the only thing I'm going to recommend are, you know, something flavored or infused. And, you know, I'm really not going to have that general knowledge of cigars or tobacco. But when I get in the humidor with them and I start, you know, talking about things, you know, they kind of look at me a little bit different, like, oh, okay, she does know what she's talking about.
Right.
Yeah.
But initially, yes, they do go to Prem.
I mean,
Well, a lot of it's just familiarity too. I mean, I'm here, you know, 90% of the time the shop is open.
right.
Yeah.
So a lot of it's just familiarity. But I mean, even now I'm getting to the point, I'm like, go talk to Malu. She'll take care of you. I'm off, you know, that kind of thing. And it's really pushing the guys more in her direction, and they're getting a chance to actually talk to her more and understand that she's a tobacconist and she can really help with addressing their needs and what they like and, you know, what they're looking for. So
Right. Very cool. Very cool. Does anybody in the field have any questions? Does anybody have any comments for either Prem or Malu? Because we could just keep on talking. No problems.
talking about cigars, man, they'll bring out the conversation.
So hold on, because everybody feeds my Facebook page too. Okay. So can we talk a little bit about Balmoral and what's going on?
All right. So the story on Balmoral is this. What Balmoral as a brand was bought out by General a while back, a couple years ago. And the whole purpose behind that acquisition was really the European market and some of the machine rolled products they do, the smaller cigars like the Panther line. So in reevaluating everything, what General has decided is that Balmoral, some of the lines that are currently there, like the Connecticut, for all intents and purposes in the American market, are going to go away. They're going to roll the main lines of what's left into their General portfolio, and kind of it won't be the standalone that it is now.
And the things like the Duetta, they're going away?
They probably will, because the Duetto of itself was supposed to be a trilogy of once a year they release a new Duetto for 3 years. The third one was supposed to be out this year. So we had the Duetto. Last year we had the Paso Doble. And the third one was supposed to be out this year. And they were collaborations between the master blenders of Balmoral and other companies. So you'd have two master blenders that came together on the Duetto line, which is why it got that name. With it being such a specialty product, it would surprise me if they make the decision to keep it.
Gotcha. So now, how is the shop doing between the both of you? And maybe Malu, you could talk about Manassas, and Prem could talk about Haymarket. How are you guys handling the virus stuff? Because I know you guys are doing curbside, and it's a super pain. But we talked a little bit about mail order, but how has your clientele is it, you know, how is it working out curbside?
For Manassas, the couple times that I've been, I haven't been working since all of this went down. But I've visited Manassas a couple times, and, you know, Brett has the shop. It's still curbside, but you still have the regulars that'll post up outside. and they're still smoking, and you've got the regulars that are still making purchases, and you've got people still coming in. So I mean, they're getting some business down there, but it's I don't think it's anywhere near where it should be,
What
and
a war.
for good reason, with everybody being social distance, and it
Because it is a social atmosphere. I mean, no matter whether I go to Manassas or the Haymarket, I walked in there and not knowing anybody besides Prem or you, and you can sit there for 2 hours and talk to total strangers about a wide range of topics. So there's definitely a social aspect of the cigar lounge and just kind of hanging out all day, and that's kind of what drives your industry. Is it's kind of like the bar field. You want people to come in and sit and hang out.
Right.
Compared to coming and going. The longer they sit, the more they're going to smoke, the more they get that family atmosphere, and they're going to keep on coming back.
Yep.
So basically, I mean, what we're seeing, both shops, it is curbside only. And I mean, we did that for the safety of everybody involved and for the product also. I mean, when you have the general conversation with folks of, do you want anybody else touching or breathing on your cigars? The immediate answer is no.
Right.
So we basically went to that about 2.5 weeks ago, and we shut the lounges down about 3 weeks ago. Has it affected things? Has this whole situation affected things? Absolutely. Are both shops where they would have been in a normal year right now? No. The regulars are still coming in. They're still supporting. I mean, guys like you, Frank, we appreciate it. We definitely appreciate it. But what you're not seeing is right now is, there's a whole side of cigar smoking that really isn't happening, the social side where you get the golfers and things like that, that now that the weather's warming up, they're not going out and they're not smoking.
Right.
So, folks that would be going to a barbecue or cookout or just hanging out and, 10 guys in a garage or a driveway at night, they're not doing that right now. So you're seeing the losses in areas like that.
I gotcha. And then I just had a train of thought. How do you think the coronavirus is going to affect the industry itself? Are crops being hurt? I mean, are companies shutting down? Or are they on quarantine? Because I mean, we know how we are here in the States. We're basically locked down. So, but is that happening in other countries? Or have they stopped cropping? Have they stopped rolling?
So what's really happening right now is, like I said, in the past week, you're starting to see some good news come out of places like the DR and Nicaragua, where some of the factories are coming back online. And part of that is you still have to take care of that crop. If you don't, you lose the crop. So they're still tending to the crop and things like that. But what's happening is, because when you look at these factories, rollers, they're congested areas where you have a lot of people handling the product all at once. The average cigar that you touch, that you smoke, has almost 300 hands touch it in its lifetime from seed to final product. So when you think about that, there's a lot of people involved in that process. So what the factories have done in a lot of these places, because they were worried about them, they shut down the production part of it. And now they're starting to wind up a little bit, but it's not what it is normal full tilt.
Right.
Okay, and there's a lot of factories that still aren't open.
So do you think it's going to drive the prices up next season?
No. I mean, there's still a good supply of cigars. I mean, these manufacturers supply with growth in mind. So, because the cigar industry as an industry has grown, it's become more socially accepted to be a cigar smoker, a pipe smoker in recent years. So when they project for their production, they're projecting growth. So inventory is there, and what we're going to see is, with this kind of lull in the industry, as you will, a pullback in purchasing, the inventory is still going to be there.
Right. Okay. And then,
I think if anything, once this whole hysteria kind of blows over and dies down, cigar smokers are really going to want to go back to their lounges and go back to, places that are comfortable and interact with the people that they've missed out on during this whole quarantine. So I know the first thing I want to do once the lounge opens back up is I want to go back to the shop. I want to work. I want to be around the people that I thoroughly enjoy being around, because we can't do that right now.
Right. So let me ask you this one, Mala. When you go, so do you hang out at a place? So do you smoke outside, or do you basically smoke in the shop? So like when you go out, do you hang out with cigar smokers? Are there other women in your group who smoke?
There's a few women that I hang out with that are avid smokers, that are knowledgeable smokers, and that's how I met them, was through cigar groups on Facebook. And the lounges I've gone to with one of my good friends had, a really good mix of men and women, and you meet so many amazing people when you go and sit at the lounge. She and I can go and be the only two people there, but by the end of the night, we've got a crowd of people just wanting to talk to you and get to know you, and it's all because of cigars.
Right. So do you find it more and more that when you go out, more women are smoking?
Certain places, yes. But there's been a couple of lounges I've been to where either I've been the only female or myself and my friend have been the only females. And the whole time we're there, we won't see any other women come into the lounge or come in to buy cigars, for that matter.
I mean, we've tried in the past to even create and promote a ladies' night. Where we'll lock down the lounge. It can be just a congregation of women that feel comfortable in their own space together. And what we found is, from the perspective of us trying to do it, it didn't work. So what I've kind of started doing is floating the idea out there to ladies that I know that smoke, and say, hey, you have other ladies that smoke. Why don't you guys put together something? Let me know a couple dates that work for you. We'll put it together, and boom, all of a sudden we have a good ladies' night here.
Right, because when you guys hold your annual crawfish boil and stuff like that, it's a huge mix of both people smoking, and it's just, that's when you really see what the percentage of women is to men, when you have like 100 people there and everybody's smoking. It's a whole new market. It really is.
Yeah.
And it's, for me, I like it. I mean, some guys, maybe they don't like it. Maybe it turns them off. But it's always been, I mean, the social aspect of it, to me, has always been its greatest asset. For a guy with a speech impediment, I could sit in a cigar lounge all night and talk to total strangers without a problem and feel very comfortable. Compared to someplace else, compared to like going to a bar and talking to strangers at a bar.
Right.
So there's a different social aspect of it, which I find very comforting, whether it's just the atmosphere of the lounge, or it's, just we all have something in common as soon as we walk in that place. And you're talking about, what are you smoking? What are you smoking? And it just kind of grows. And I've made some really good friends there. Speaking of which, what are you smoking, Paula?
I am smoking Drew Estate Papas Fritas.
And you?
I'm actually smoking a Fratello Nevada. The nice thing about Fratello is this is kind of supporting local on two levels. Omar, the owner of the company, is right out of Springfield. He operates out of Springfield. So, and this particular cigar was an exclusive done for Tobaccology. It's the only time he's ever done cigars in a Churchill size, and he did it for us.
Very cool.
So you're smoking one of the Churchills tonight.
Very, very cool. So we've also been trying to get Carson's Cigars event there for. We've been talking about it for over a year now.
Oh yeah,
At least.
probably longer.
Probably. So we definitely have to keep working on that. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of questions in the crowd, in the chat. We were up to 10 at one point. Now we're down to 4.
If it was a warmer, less windy night, I have a feeling we'd have a lot more people chimed in right now.
Yeah, I think so too. It's really not the best smoking weather out tonight.
No, it's not. It's just not a good night for a cigar.
No,
it's a good night to be out. If you're in that out there, the temperature's gone way down, and you're still getting that drafty breeze, and it's cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know, as I'm saying that, Malu is sitting outside.
Sitting outside. So
this is fine.
So
She's in though. She's good.
I'm good.
She's on a time schedule, so whenever you're ready, Malu, just don't worry about to be like, I gotta go. So.
All right. Well, I am going to sign off, but gentlemen, it was great. Thank you so much. I'd like to do this again.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Maybe we'll do it.
Thanks for coming on, girl.
Yeah, I'll see you guys sooner, hopefully, rather than later.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you popping in. Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good night.
So, what else you got? So, what's really hot right now? Philip? Hold on. I'm in my garage with the heater on, smoking a
Novel Legato Toro, huh? Not one I've actually had, Phil. I've had Avos before, good line of cigars, but I've not had the Legato.
But so what's really hot right now? What's the one stick that everybody should be trying right now?
That's a hard one, man, because you know this from personal experience. I don't sell to trends. I sell to what the person wants, what their mood is. I don't worry about the product per se as much as matching the product to what the person wants to smoke. And
Right.
You know that from personal experience.
Right.
We're not one of those shops between the two shops where, oh, we've got this great deal, we're going to push this product. It's, because not every product's for every smoker. So
Right.
it's more of the personal touch than promoting a product. Now that being said, what I'm seeing right now is a lot of my smokers, whether they tend to veer more towards light body or whether they tend to veer more towards full body, are actually coming back more towards the middle. A lot of the guys are asking me for more medium smokes right now. And I don't know if it's the fact that maybe they're smoking a little bit more, my regular smokers.
Right.
And, they're not looking for that, okay, boom, I'm going to get my nicotine fill out of one cigar or whatever, or maybe they're just trying new things. I don't know what it is, but that seems to be what I'm noticing right now with a lot of the guys that are coming in. So.
Because I have my favorites, but every now and then I'll come in there and I'll just be like, I want something new, but I don't know what's what. Mm-hmm. So you can't be afraid that when you go in to a tobacco shop, a cigar shop, and you talk to the tobacconist, tell them what you like and what you're interested in and what your normal smoke is, and maybe let them pick out something new so you can try.
Right on the head.
Right. Because I'm always in there going, what I like, but what's in my wheelhouse. And you always pick out something good. Cigars are very personal preference, much like wine. Very true. Very true.
Very true. It goes to a lot of things. Bourbon, Scotch. When you think about it, it's also very personal preference. A lot of guys will come in the shop and they'll be like, Prem, I'm gonna sip on this tonight. That I generally like something medium. Line me up with something good. And that's typically what I'll do with some of the guys coming in. Make it more of a pairing So it's a complete experience as opposed to, just sitting there smoking one. A lot of times we're sitting at the shop, we're just smoking one. But when guys are home, gals are home, they want to pair with wine. They're going to be sipping on a little scotch or bourbon. Some that don't drink are like Prem. I like an Earl Grey tea, something like that. So, you gotta do what you can to try to meet those preferences the best you can.
Right. Right. So he's saying, like Eric's saying, nothing beats a big old fat Cuban. As much as I like my Cohibas, and I just went to Italy a couple of last year and picked up a whole bunch and brought a couple back. They are phenomenal, but I'll be honest with you, a couple of Nicaraguans, to me, run right up against them pretty well. So I know they have so everybody thinks that Cuban is the absolutely best because everybody thinks that, when you can't get it, it's got to be that good.
Right.
But, there are plenty of sticks out there that are very comparable that are readily available as well. Let's talk a little bit, because I've noticed it at the shop sometimes. Let's talk about cigar etiquette a little bit. So I've always been taught that when you go to a shop, even just to hang, you never bring your own. You always buy something out of the box. It's a business, because there are people that can go there all day and, well, let me rephrase that. If you have a locker at a tobacco shop, fine. You've already bought some, you're storing there, you're going to go in, you're going to hang out, and you're going to smoke, that's fine. But like these guys that bring in like a traveling humidor to the lounge and then smoke and sit there for 2-3 hours and never purchase anything. So I've always been taught that's a little taboo. That
it's more than a little. It's a lot taboo.
It's a lot taboo.
I mean, that's no different than somebody going to a bar and bringing their own alcohol.
Right.
Okay. It's just not one of those things you do. Now, do you necessarily say to somebody, okay, yeah, you have the cigar you want to smoke, but the proper etiquette is if you're going to come into a shop, buy something. Okay. Patronize the shop that you're in. You're using their facilities. You got to remember, these are private facilities. You're not in a park. You're not somewhere else. There's an employee that has to be paid, that's paid to take care of that while you're there.
Right.
The electricity and all that. So no, I mean, it is a business and is treated as such. But if somebody comes in and they're like, Prem, I really wanted to smoke this today, but I'm going to buy something out of your humidor I don't care. They're at that point, they're doing the right thing.
Right. I gotcha. So,
but yeah, the idea of being able to walk into a shop and just smoke your own cigars, well, no, you're walking into basically somebody else's house at that point.
Right. It's like walking into a restaurant and bringing your own food.
Right.
Kind of hanging out, using all that.
Right. Right. So,
what do we got here? I prefer Dominican smokes. You have to be an asshole not to patronize the lounge you're in. Very true.
Very true.
Very, very true.
Frank, I'm going to not hop off. I'm going to mute for like 2 minutes and I'll be right back.
You got it, brother. You take your time. All right, guys. So if you're just coming in, we got Prem from Tobaccoology here in Northern Virginia, a tobaccologist who's going to be discussing topics with us tonight. If you're just tuning in, don't forget to hit that like button. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already, I would love that you do so. You can hit the dislike button as well, whichever you want to do. Philip, I appreciate you being in here tonight. Same with you, Eric. Thanks for popping in. I know RC Nova. Hopefully, he's still in the house. And Prem is back.
Yeah, no, I had to. I saw Brett come down the driveway. He must be dropping off some stuff for me, so I just went and opened the door for him.
I got you. Is he going to pop in, start screaming and yelling at me?
No. No, I'll save you from that tonight. Yeah, thank you everybody that came on and chimed on. Greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, that's my cousin.
Yeah.
Right there. So he's the one. So between him, oh, look at that, Blood X. Pow! What's up, Blood? How you doing tonight? Blood, are you a big cigar smoker? Or you just in here just hanging out, busting my chops? And then RC Nova is still in the house. And just so disappointed that OC being canceled. So yes, so let's talk about that real quick. So they announced today that Cruise in Ocean City is officially canceled. If you had your registration set, they're going to push it to 2021 in May, or if you want them to push it to Endless Summer in October, they provided a phone number. You can give them a call, and they'll put that registration towards that if you're not already registered. But 99% of the people, while you're there, you register it for the year coming up. So a lot of people are probably already registered, like I am, for the Endless Summer in October. So I'm just going to have mine pushed to next May. It was their 30th anniversary. They are extremely disappointed. They waited to the absolute last minute before they canceled. And I think a lot of that had to do with that. If you were renting anything, even a hotel room, you had to have your deposits in 30 days prior. And I know a lot of us go. So even though the event is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, a lot of people go the weekend before. So I know my deposit was due tomorrow. So they canceled it today. So hopefully everybody gets their deposits back. I have been hearing some people were having problems about hotels not giving their deposits back and things like that. But hopefully, now that the town is officially shut down through May, you get your deposits back. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to have my deposit I had in May slide over to October to pay for the condo I'm renting for the Endless Summer. So I also know a lot of people are talking about going down there anyway. I don't know what you're going to do. If everything is closed and the restaurants are closed and the bars are closed and you can't hang out at the convention center and the inlet is closed, there's going to be absolutely nothing for you to do besides
drink.
You can't even go to the beach. So I don't even know what the hell you're going to do down there. So, but yeah, it sucks. But you know what? I think they did the right thing. And I have a little surprise planned. So I don't want to let the cat out of the bag yet for Ocean City, but I'm working on something. So don't you guys worry about that. Okay, so Blood X is saying just hanging out, don't smoke cigars, bro. Okay, no problems. I appreciate you popping in. I really do. RC Nova. So Prem, let me tell you a little bit about RC. RC is just that. It's a young man I met down there in Ocean City who has these little gas powered RC cars.
Nitro powered, yeah.
70, 80 miles an hour. And as we're cruising up and down the strip, he's zipping up and down the friggin' sidewalks. So, but he's a really cool guy, and he's posted a couple of things. My cousin.
So, little history on me is I used to be into those. I used to race them back in the day myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had 1/10 scale on road, 1/10 scale off road truck, and a 1/8 scale off road buggy that I raced all. They were all nitro.
Very cool. Hopefully RC's paying attention because he's saying, yeah, so I think the October show is going to be, because everybody's going to be upset that the May show was canceled. I think October is going to be a friggin' monster. I really do. So I'm looking forward to it. But with that being said, I think in September, I'm going to go with my cousin Michael to Lake George in New York, and that'll be a new show for me to attend and film and be creative with and kind of open up a new market for some of my videos as well.
So the big guy wasn't able to stick around, Frank. He actually has a meeting with one of the distributors that we deal with. So
okay,
he had to take off.
I got you. So RC, sure, if you want to come on and show the cars, that's fine. There's the link. If you want to come on, just hit that link and come on in.
Let me check the front door. I'll be right back.
You got it, bro. So, guys, if you're just tuning in, we're with my local tobacconist, Prem, and we're talking about cigars, what's hot, what's new, what's trending in the cigar industry, how the coronavirus may or may not affect the industry in the upcoming years. And
I mean, I'm open to take any questions they have really about the industry.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll get a couple more questions in here. And here's Kyle. Bam.
Hi.
What up, brother? How you doing, buddy?
Good.
Up, man?
How do you let me do this flip. So it's a little messy in here, but I'll show in a minute. There's the car. It's a
You
little
gotta get some
dark.
lights in there, dude. Like all I see is a black box. There you go.
Here, wait.
But I did see my logo.
This is new. Did you get this the other day?
There you go.
There you go. Oh, that's pretty cool, man.
Let's bring you up. There's that Nova.
It's
Yeah, pretty
fast.
awesome looking, dude.
It was on one wheel before. I had to get the frame back to out. It was so crazy.
I see you didn't put the motor on the hood.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it.
No.
I asked our friend Mikey.
Yeah. Okay, I know
And he
Mike.
said I should just keep it flat. The hood.
But it's because it looks more like his car now.
Yeah.
Cool, man.
Very cool. Very cool.
And is that a Tamiya model kit I see under there?
Well, I just put the tires up because I had to get the frame sent out again. I don't like having them with these tires on it and stuff. I don't want it to
I'm
get
talking about the
scratched.
shelf down below. Is that a Tamiya model kit?
Yeah, I have a semi.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. They make some
Here, I'll
great
pull it
model
out. Let me put this over here. Wait. I'm a little confused. I keep on thinking I'm on my iPad. And then I get the semi out.
So if anybody else wants to come on from the chat and talk about cigars, If they have any questions and want to ask them that way, you're more than welcome to come on. The link is right there. The link is right here. If you want to hit it. Oh, yeah, look at that.
That's pretty cool, man.
How fast is that one?
It has a 3-speed transmission in it, believe it or not.
Wow.
And is that electric or gas?
It's electric. Yeah, I can open it for you. You look in there. I actually have a dog in the truck and a guy driving it. It's pretty funny.
Very cool. So, yeah, so actually, not to get back to Ocean City, but Andy just posted that no one from Cruise in Ocean City can control what the hotels are doing. Yes, it sucks. It's an unfortunate situation. The staff has no control. There's literally thousands of rental properties and hotels, none of which are associated with the event. Yes, if the bans are lifted, they may be a small group of people who are still go regardless of the event's official status, and that's fine. Feel free to plan those things here. But he's just asking for everybody on the Cruise in Ocean City page to kind of keep it civil because people are freaking out. But Andy's a cool guy, and
so I'll show you what's underneath these cars always. So when I always run them, that's what's underneath them.
All right. Okay.
So, throw just the frame. That's the engine right there.
Okay.
This one has a cover on it. Some have fans. Mine is high performance, so it has fans.
It's got fans. Okay. How fast? So now, is that the truck body or that's the Nova?
This is one of my other car, Nova. No, it's not Nova. It's a Camaro.
Okay.
I have it. I can show you.
So how fast does the truck go?
That's a Corvette.
Oh yeah, look at that.
You want it?
Do I want it? No.
Want to buy one? So when they come, they look like this. When I get them, they're actually see-through like that. That's a Mustang.
Yeah, looks in body.
Oh yeah.
So I could peel a little piece off for you. It's literally glass underneath. Wait. They're hard to peel off unless you take it out. So they're literally see-through like that.
That's cool. And then you paint them on the inside, or you paint them on the outside?
You paint them on the inside.
Okay.
You put the stickers so the windows don't get covered up. I actually have a Mustang, a newer Mustang. There's a Mustang in there.
Very cool.
I got a monster truck, Bigfoot. It's got a cool paint job. There's a Blazer with some off-road wheels. And there's a monster truck.
So,
Bigfoot.
Kyle, are you going to be on them for a while?
I might have to get off. I got to go eat, but I'll be right back on later.
All right. Well, why don't you jump back on and we'll take a look at them then. I want to keep talking with Prem if that's cool.
Okay.
You got it, brother? All right. Thanks, man, for popping in. I appreciate it, though. They look awesome. You got some great builds there, dude.
Thank you.
You got it, brother.
All right. Bye.
Bye, buddy. Bam. Very cool. So what are you smoking now? You got a new one?
No, same one.
You know?
You don't smoke one of these quick, man.
So, like, ironically, we had we lit the fire pit last night, and I had the other one that you gave me,
The Adventurer or the Navigator. I'm sorry.
the Navigator, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was just me talking that day. I had a hard time keeping it lit, but last night it was amazing. It was a really good stick. So you kind of turned me on to something new there.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a couple of things that happened there. I mean, it was also a little windy that day, and you were sitting directly out in the wind, whereas the rest of us were kind of closer to the building.
Right.
It could have just been the roll on that one cigar. You just never know. I mean, they are hand rolled, and it is an organic product, so it could have been something wonky with that one cigar.
True.
You know, and it happens. You know, I've seen the most consistent companies have bad cigars. You know, it just happens.
Right. So now, so that brings me to another question. So, as you start out smoking, like everybody kind of leans towards the names that they're familiar with, the Macanudos, the Partaguses, the
Rock Hotels, the things
right,
like that.
right. So now you guys don't carry a lot of those. You guys carry a lot of the. Let me ask that question. Do you guys carry a lot more hand rolled? Do you guys carry a lot more?
No, everything we carry is hand rolled.
Everything you carry. Hand rolled.
Everything we carry is hand rolled. Everything in that humidor is hand rolled. Okay, I mean, there's some of the smaller products like the Jarums and stuff, the cloves. Of course, those aren't hand rolled.
Right.
But no, the cigars themselves that we sell are all hand rolled. So what you find is, like, with us, we look at the whole layout in the humidors as kind of a portfolio. In that, why are we going to carry something that everybody else is carrying? One, something that you can go online and buy 40% cheaper than I can sell it to you for. Two, you know, part of coming into a shop like this and dealing with somebody like Brett or I or Malu or Mike, Ron, any of the crew, is to get the opportunity to learn more about the craft, about the hobby.
Right.
And, you know, people don't get the exposure to the lines like Adventura, like Roma Craft, Fratello in a normal shop. So, you know, part of the fun for us is educating people on the smaller companies, the boutique companies, up to mid-sized companies. You know, and what you find is when you really start exploring the product lines in those companies still have the love and appreciation for the craft. So the product tends to be really good. You know?
Yeah.
And I mean, you've seen that yourself, just moseying through this humidor in here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you got, you know, so I kind of well, I like repetition. So I keep going back to the same ones over and over and over again. But like I said earlier, you've always been extremely helpful when I walk in and I go, you know what, I don't know what I want. And you always pick out something new and it fits my palate perfectly every time. So, but does anybody have any questions for Prem or me on anything? Cigars, Ocean City? Nope. Quiet night.
Yeah, it's all right. We got to do it at night when guys can chime in and actually have one burning.
Yeah, I was hoping that some of the other guys who kind of hang out
Yeah.
at the top were going to jump in.
Yeah. You know, it's all right. But, you know, I had a couple guys ask me about it today and had planned on jumping in, and I haven't seen them jump on. So I don't know, stuff happens, man.
Yeah.
You know, they saw the post, and obviously you tagged me in the post, so it came up on their walls. So
Right.
guys asked me about it today. I'm surprised nobody popped in, but yeah. So we've been doing on our end, and I told you about this, Frank, on Tuesday and Friday nights, just to try to keep the community, keep everybody together and social. Is we've been doing video herfs, which are cigar meetups, but we're doing them via Zoom. Every platform has its ups and downs, but Zoom's easy for everybody.
Right.
It comes down to. So we've had some good ones. This past one, the Friday night discussion got into the local distilleries and what they're doing with hand sanitizer.
Yes.
So what I did was I invited Mike Larkin from Malarkey on Tuesday nights to kind of explain that process and what they're doing and the guidelines and everything else. And it was a good meetup.
Yeah, what he's doing is just fantastic.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The fact that he can do that and has stopped production, and I'm sure it's costing him money, but he's doing the right thing, and in the long run, it's going to be, I think, beneficial for him. I think people are going to remember that he stopped alcohol production to make hand sanitizer. Is going to go a long way, like in the future.
They put a post up today on, I don't know if you're familiar with the really big totes that they use, like when they're processing stuff. I mean, I don't know how many hundreds of gallons these things hold, but Fairfax, they had set up one, and the picture they took on the post was of Fairfax's logistics truck for their emergency team picking this thing up from the distillery. So it was pretty cool to see that.
That's really cool. It is. And is it his father-in-law? Who's Pepino to him?
Yes, his father-in-law. So
his father-in-law.
Poppy's his father-in-law.
Poppy's his father-in-law.
And he is the mixologist there.
He turned me into a gin guy. I love it. He turned me into a gin guy. The first time I sat down there, he turned me into a gin guy. So, but
yeah, it's a good crew over there. Good local business, man. We do a fair amount of stuff with them. So, obviously we have our partnerships with a lot of the other local businesses, and it's just you're looking at a time where everybody's struggling, and the best thing folks can do is to support these local businesses,
right?
Because you want them to be there when all this breaks. I mean, you want your Tin Cannons and your honorary breweries, your Malarkeys to be there. Not only them, but think about all the local restaurants, the Out of the Blues, the Giuseppe's, things like that are mom and pop shops that don't have that corporate money.
Exactly.
So, support them if you can. And the great thing is, I think it goes into effect at midnight tonight. They can actually now do takeout on cocktails.
I did hear him say that, which
yeah,
I don't understand that. I think there's going to be state troopers waiting in the wings to, as soon as you leave, have an open container in the car, but hopefully it doesn't go that route.
Well, I think the best thing to do in that situation is, if you're going to do that, get delivery.
Right.
Because they can deliver also. And it'd be easy. It's like, here's the ingredients for your cocktails. You mix them as you're ready, kind of thing.
True. And like I said, though, it's just amazing how they've restructured everything, and they applied some leniency to some rules that I think is going to help a lot of businesses out. Mm-hmm. But in your guys' case at the shop, it's not really that.
No. No, I mean, we have to
people can help you guys out.
Yeah, we had to kind of rethink what we were doing because, you know, we kind of fall in a gray area, being the fact that we are a lounge and we have a membership. So we kind of had to suspend the lounge operations and go strictly to operating as a brick and mortar to fall into the guidelines.
Yeah.
Now, I know there are other cigar shops that have their lounges open, and that's up to them as to how they want to do that. But, you know, we chose to be on the safe side of it because, again, you're playing in a gray area, you know, and you don't ever want that health inspector to come in and say, hey, first of all, you're operating as a lounge. Second, you know, you've got people. Yeah, you only have 10 people, but look, they're all 3 feet apart.
Right.
You know, then all of a sudden, now I'm shut down.
True. So now, what types of events do you guys have throughout the year? Obviously not this year because of what's going on, but normally you have events like weekly. You guys have stuff going on?
Well, there's different events that we have. We generally have 3 big events a year. The crawfish boil is the marquee event, and obviously, with that being the last weekend of April, the last Saturday of April, that got scratched. So it's just postponed. We got to figure it out. Obviously, trying to make it a crawfish boil at a later point in the year is going to be difficult because you're going to be out of crawfish season at that point.
Correct.
So we're going to have to be creative in how we approach that. But through the year, we tend to have 1 or 2 mini events every month, and we try to alternate the shops so that, you know, folks aren't always going to one shop or the other. And then Brett and I do a lot of off-site events where we partner with other businesses like Tin Cannon, like Malarkey, Out of the Blue, Denim and Pearls. You know, a lot of the places like that, we do these off-site events. And what ends up happening is, you know, when you get into the late spring, summer, early fall, yeah, it seems like every week we have multiple things going on, but it's not always us. It's us partnering with somebody else and just kind of being off-site.
Right. So and being what's going on, that's really hurting you guys. But I know you guys have a lot of loyal customers. No matter what, they're going to keep coming back. And you guys also sell pipe products and things like that, even though that's not your bread and butter. I mean, I've been there when you get the phone calls and be like, no, we don't sell any vape products.
Right. No, we're strictly premium tobacco products. So, you know, when you think of like, and the best way to say it is your grandpa's pipe, you know, yeah, we sell pipes. We sell pipe tobacco and that kind of trend. You know, we do the cigars, obviously. We also have roll your own tobacco for people that want a different solution to just going and buying cartons of cigarettes. Okay. You know, so there's things that we sell that a lot of people don't realize we do, but you know, people look us up online and they say, oh, you know, it's a tobacco shop and they must sell vape or they must sell hookah. And no, we don't sell any of those kind of products.
Gotcha. So now, I'm trying to get you back on the tobacco so what's not to dissect a cigar for those people who are watching who have no idea what the parts of the cigar are, because I know hopefully there's people watching who are avid cigar smokers, but what makes a Maduro a Maduro, or what makes a Connecticut? Is it just the wrapper, or is it the filling inside, or
no? That would be, you're looking at what you're seeing there is the wrapper. So when you see the term Connecticut, it's indicative of the wrapper on that cigar. So you may have a family of cigars sitting in 3 boxes side by side, and one may say Connecticut, another one would say Habano, and another one may say Maduro, what tends to be the difference across those 3 cigars is the wrapper. Okay, now that's not always the case. To go back to your earlier question, so when you look at the construction of a cigar itself, there's 3 parts to a cigar, and the part that everybody sees is the wrapper.
Right.
Okay, and then when you hold it this way, what you see when you look at it when it's unlit is the filler, but between the wrapper and the filler is a binder. So those are your 3 main parts of a cigar. All right, and they each attribute different things to what you get out of that cigar. Now, when you look at your average blend of what goes into how many different types of tobacco go into an individual cigar, on average, it's 5 to 7 different types of tobacco in a single cigar that's blended to give you that flavor profile that you're getting when you smoke that cigar. Okay. Now, when you look at different sizes, okay, so the size is obviously going to affect how that blend works because it changes the ratio of the amount of binder and wrapper to filler. And then certain vitolas, as they're called, sizes, have to be reblended because of their size, to kind of keep it in line with the original flavor profile that the master blender wanted for that line. So when you look at Lanceros, they're a good example. They're the long, thin cigar.
Okay.
Lanceros are a very good cigar for somebody that has an acute palate that really wants to understand the intricacies of what's coming from that cigar. But to make a Lancero, it takes a master roller because of their size. And the blend typically has to be reblended and adjusted a little bit because of its size. So, there's a lot that goes into when you walk into a humidor and you look at the different sizes of cigars and think about it, there's a lot that goes into creating that line of cigars, if you will.
See, there's so much behind it that I don't think a lot of people really know the science that really goes into it.
Yep.
I mean, I've watched a couple of videos where they talk about the different. So on the tobacco plant, the different types of leaves.
Mm-hmm.
The ones up high have, and I don't know all of them my names. So, but I know the top of the plant is usually the biggest leaf, and that's more like the wrapper, I would think. And then the middle is where the flavor is, and then the bottom of the plant.
So again, it just comes back into the particular line of tobacco, how it's grown, where it's grown, as to where on that plant they're going to use that leaf for. Sometimes with some of these lines, you'll go out and you'll see them chopping the top of the plant off because it doesn't serve a purpose in that particular line that they're working on. You know what I mean?
Right.
You'll see them shedding some of the bottom leaves. It just all depends on what they're trying to attain from that plant as they're growing it, and what they really want out of it. Some plants are grown under a shade, so they don't get that direct sunlight. It's just it all comes into what they're really trying to get out of that plant before you even get to the process of harvesting it, aging it, and dissecting what those leaves are going to be used for.
Right.
It's a lot like wine. It's a lot like wine. When you look at tobacco and you look at wine from inception to finished product, and by that I mean from seed to what you're actually consuming, there's a lot of similarities.
Gotcha. Okay. See, like I said, I don't think a lot of people really understand what goes into it, and the education behind it of what you're smoking and how many people touch it and where it comes from, and the difference between seed and soil and things like that, and the different attributes of the cigar depending on how tightly it's rolled. And Jason and I were talking the other day, and he had one that somebody had given him, and it's like trying to drink a McDonald's shake through a straw. He's like, you have to draw on it so hard. And he goes, I found it just not enjoyable at all. It was more like a work, where I like some of the ones I smoke, they're a little looser wrapped, they're a looser rolled, and they stay lit longer, they smolder. You don't have to keep puffing as much between, and they're more like what I call a conversational cigar, that you can light, puff, you can talk, and you don't have to keep relighting it and relighting it and relighting it. But to the average cigar smoker who really just kind of jumping on the bandwagon, so to speak, I don't think they really understand what goes into it, where the flavor comes from, and what really makes a good cigar a good cigar.
And what I tell most people when they're just getting into the cigar hobby, if you will, the craft, is to try different things and find out what really appeals to you. All right, kind of hone in on what you like. Don't go out here and read a lot of stuff and confuse the situation. Figure out what you like and then begin to learn about what you like. And then you can start to kind of vary out from there. Folks will go out and they'll come back and they'll be like, oh, well, I heard about this kind of wrapper, that kind of wrapper. And I'm like, well, based on what I know about what you like to smoke, that's not what you're going to like.
Right.
So, and again, it comes back to having people that you can trust to kind of advise you and walk you down that road. I attribute cigar learning to learning like anything else. It's, you're going to have your level 100, your 101, your 102. And sometimes folks want to jump to level 104, but they don't really understand level 100 yet.
Right.
Once level 100 is, what do you like to smoke?
Right. I fell right into that category really early on. So when I first started, I was like, oh yeah, I got my magazine, my Cigar Aficionado, I'm flipping through this. I want these 98 ratings and all that. And a lot of them I just didn't. I mean, I found a couple in the high 80s that I liked that I liked a lot more than someone like the high 90s. And so, what is Philip saying here? The flavor profile is definitely paramount, but in my opinion, a stick also has to feel good in your hand.
That's part of the experience.
Yeah.
That's part of the experience. And Phil's absolutely right. I mean, people tend to veer towards what feels comfortable with them. And it's not just with cigars, it's with pipes. But the great thing about cigars is, you get to experiment with those different sizes and how the blend is affected by that different vitola. It may not be the most comfortable thing if you're a guy that likes a 54 ring gauge Toro, to go to that 60 ring gauge Gordo or something that's a 48 gauge, like a Lancero.
Right.
But that's part of the fun of actually going through this and saying, this is a cigar I really like. Well, here, try it in a different vitola and see if you like it just as much. And it's funny how sometimes, once you've gotten to a point, you can tell the variance of the blend just going from different size.
And so, like, exactly right. So me personally, I don't like a Churchill. I never liked the Churchill. So I like them.
You tend to like a bigger ring gauge.
I like a bigger ring gauge. I
Yeah.
really do. I like, you know, the fatter they are, the happier I am. And, you know, what is it, like a robusto size, like about, you know, 5.5, 6 inches. Sounds a little phallic, and I'm sure somebody's going to make a comment, especially my, especially
Well,
my,
your cousin is online, so be careful.
yeah. But you know, but yeah, it's got to feel comfortable in your hand, and you know, I enjoy. The other thing is, a lot of people don't know how far you're supposed to smoke them down.
Right.
A lot of people smoke them, and they're like, "Oh, you know, it burns." Well, you're supposed to stop already.
Yes.
So a lot of people smoke them way too far down. Um,
Yeah, and that's a personal thing. Because eventually, what happens with a cigar when you get to a certain point, two things happen. You're dealing with the heat and trying to keep it lit. You're also dealing with a point of the cigar where you've got so much of the tar and smoke buildup that the flavor has changed at that point. Now, some people like that, which is why they continue to smoke at that point. You know, and then others realize, okay, you know, yeah, my cigar is about right here. I'm done. You know, so it's just it's a personal preference, and I see both sides of it. I see guys that'll smoke, you know, they'll smoke half a cigar and put it down,
right.
and that's what they want. And they'll come in and they'll buy, and I'm like, you know, you could buy a shorter cigar, and they're like, no, I like that longer cigar, and it's perfect for what I like. That's a personal preference.
Yeah. Yeah. And just like relighting, a lot of people will relight, and a relight changes the flavor, at least for the first couple of puffs. And then people are like, you know what, I don't like it. It doesn't taste right. And it's just, you have to work your way out, and you have to know the technique about blowing through the other way and getting all of the oxides out before you start drawing in again.
Yep.
So there's definitely a technique to smoking that I think a lot of people, when they first start out, just like, you know.
There's yeah. I mean, it's just like anything else. And again, you know, I'll go back to wine. It's just like tasting wine. When you first taste wine, you know, you basically put it to your lips, and you know, you don't understand the technique of swirling it around so it covers your palate front to back. You know, most people drink it, let it go across their tongue, and they're done.
Right.
You know, they don't understand that the concept of letting some air get in there and letting it cross your palate the right way. You know, some people spit it out at that point. Some people swallow it. It's up to you. But again, it's those learning curves that helps you understand, and you know, as you grow, changes the experience.
True. True. Very true. Well, I appreciate you coming on tonight. I really do. I think there's a whole new, you know, it's a whole new, because the cars and cigars have gone together now for a while, and a lot of people like the whole cars and coffee events, cars and cigars events. You know, it brings people together. They like both aspects of it, and you know,
now we can actually do all three because I mean, we're partnered with Haymarket Coffee Company.
correct. You
So
guys
we can do cars, coffee, and cigars.
and cigars,
You know?
and so once we get back in the away from this social distancing thing, we really got to set something up at the shop.
Yeah.
And try to get people involved, because the whole car thing, you know, it's about being outside, but it's about talking to people. There's a social aspect of the cigar show thing that really goes hand in hand with the social aspects of cigar smoking.
And one of the things I was thinking about, you know, one of the concerns that was always raised about my lot here is the size. If you had a larger meetup, well, first of all, I think smaller meetups to begin and test it out would probably not be a bad thing. But you know, we do have other resources in town that we can look at. We could talk to Sean and see, you know, doing an early morning meetup over there.
Right.
You know, and that would give us the availability of a lot more room.
True. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. Well, Yeah. So this whole virus thing has really put a whole kibosh on the whole.
So, am I the only one that has like gone into some of these mornings and wake up and be like, "What day is it?"
My wife is like that now. My wife is like, she's just lost.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, for me, it's been just a constant because I've been here every day the shop's been open.
I know.
For 3 weeks. So
I know.
Together.
I'm trying to hang out as much as I possibly can.
Oh no, trust me, I appreciate it.
So Philip says he really enjoys Prem Cigars' wisdom and is sorry he doesn't live locally, or else he'd hang out at the lounge.
Well, whenever you come to visit.
Absolutely, Phil. Anytime you want to come down, I know your daughter's in the local area, so anytime you want to come down and go hang out,
Frank can let me know, and I'll make sure I'm here.
We'll take the Cobra out.
Uh-oh. Now you want to scare him.
He hasn't seen the Cobra yet. He hasn't come down to Hot Rod Week yet. He was supposed to come last year. He's supposed to come last year, but he didn't make it. And then he was talking about seriously coming down this year, and now it's been canceled. So hopefully he comes down in October.
Gotcha.
His son's got a Mustang.
He goes, I don't fit in the Cobra.
You know what? I bet you do, because cousin Michael fits like in the Cobra, and I'm pretty sure if Michael fits in the Cobra, you'll fit in the Cobra. Philip, what year is your little Philip's Mustang again? To 2005. Well, yeah. So he's got
2005.
Yeah, he's got a 2005. His son's got a 2005 Mustang, and then what they did was they cut a hole in the hood and they put a shaker. A shaker, like a shaker air filter on it that comes up through the hood. So they made little modifications to his Mustang. So he wanted to bring that down to Hot Rod Week.
Which block is that?
It should be the 5. It should be the 5 liter. I think it's before the Coyote. I don't think it's a Coyote.
Gotcha. Coyote's a great engine, man.
It is a phenomenal motor. But
find out soon enough, right?
Correct. I should have had it out the other day. It was just amazing. But
I mean, even today, if you got past the wind, it wouldn't have been a hateful day. Early in the afternoon, it got cool.
Yeah.
I mean, this early on, like around noon, 1, it would have been warm enough to have it out and enjoy it.
Well, today I was working on something else, but like, see, here you go. What is today? Today is Thursday. So
here we go with this, right?
Yeah. But yesterday was amazing. Yesterday was just phenomenal, and that's why we lit the bonfire out back, and I had that Navigator, and we hung out there till like 10:30 at night. It was just a beautiful night. It started to get cool last night, but the moon was, I guess it was full moon on Tuesday, so yesterday was slightly off, but it was well lit outside. It was just a gorgeous night. And now they're saying like mid-30s. It's like supposed to drop down to like in the 30s again, like on Saturday or something. So
yeah. So funny thing, you know, I'm sitting here in the shop and I have the TV muted, right? And I look up, and what do I see? Goose and Maverick.
Yeah. So that's the other thing. With this whole virus thing, they pushed all the movie premieres back.
I know, and it's hurting some companies because they were relying on that money to be coming in certain time frames. I mean, even Disney, you know, when they had planned their rollouts, especially with the parks being shut down right now,
Right.
It's hurting their bottom line.
Yeah.
Now, that being said, Disney is not going anywhere anytime soon. So
True. But I wouldn't want to wipe down that whole park. Not for me.
No, in the small city that lives under it.
Correct.
I mean, all the tunnels and everything they use to supply that park. Oh, good God, man.
Yeah, it's not.
Look, the best thing to do is just shut it down for 2 weeks and let everything die on its own.
Exactly. And I wouldn't be surprised if they did that.
I think that's exactly what they did.
But Philip's like, don't forget about cigars and motorcycles. The problem with cigars and motorcycles is I guess you could smoke them while you ride, but it's a little difficult.
If you got a windshield.
I still used to get stuff blown back in my face. It was never, I mean, I've done it a few times, but you can really, you look cool, but you don't really enjoy it.
And then the other thing is, on top of that, your cigars are burning wonky because they're getting hit with all that immediate air.
Yeah.
They're running, doing all kinds of craziness. So, 'cause trust me, I got a couple of the guys that'll come in here after they've been out, and I'll look at their cigars, and I'm like, "You enjoy that one much?" And they're like, "Well, I did when I lit it before we got back on the bike." So, and the first thing there's like, "Give me a cigar, man. You know what I like." I'm like, "All right, fine."
Yeah. Well, I can tell you this right off the bat. I've been there at the shop during the virus, and he's saying, not while you ride, when you meet up afterward. Absolutely. I always got my little traveling case when I ride in the saddlebag, and now I keep it in the Cobra. So, but I've been there at the shop while you're working during this thing, and I hope you get enough credit for going back and forth and the curbside, and you're running in there and the cash register, and you're charging to bringing everything out back and forth, and you're wiping everything down consistently. So personally, I thank you for everything you're doing to keep everybody safe. And you're absolutely one of the reasons why I frequent that lounge, because you and I get along great, and you really helped me tremendously grow as a cigar smoker. So for that, I thank you very, very much.
Well, thank you, man. I mean, we appreciate all the support that everybody gives us. I mean, you included. Because obviously without you guys and gals, I should say, we wouldn't be here.
Yeah.
And, it's times like this where you really see what your community is about. When I say the community, I'm talking about the tobaccology community, and seeing, what our regulars, and you really get to see who your community is, who your family is, if you will.
Right. And that town has a very tight-knit community to start off with.
Oh, yeah.
That town, during Haymarket Day, your shop is like home base. You guys got the barbecue going, and you're very small town oriented, and the town, I know, utilizes you guys for that fact. And you guys are always participating in events and things like that. So you guys know you're well loved in the community, and I think that we as the community feel that love back. Absolutely. And I wish you guys the best of absolute luck. I mean, I didn't and I know that when you guys first bought that piece of property, it was kind of struggling for a little while, but I definitely think you guys have grown it into your own space, and people know that you're there now, and you have your solid clientele. And I think you guys are going to be around for a very, very long time.
Yeah. I mean, what's great is, it's a great feeling when somebody new, when you get a new face walks in the front door, and they're like, so and so told me to come by and check out the shop. And you have that immediate moment of connection, and it's like, you realize, oh, they're neighbors or this, that, or they played golf together the day before or something. And, it definitely is a good feeling to see folks trust us enough to send their friends and family our way.
Right. And speaking of which, there's been many times where my wife has gone in there shopping for me for birthdays or Christmases or something. And, the fact that what my tastes are, and you can steer her in a direction, because obviously when she walks in there, she has no idea what she's looking at, or what I like and what I don't like in there. So that aspect up, you're essential in that reference. You have a great rapport with your customers, and the fact that you know what everybody likes and doesn't like and all that. I mean, that's part of the whole aspect of being a good tobaccologist, right? Exactly. Is to know more, to not only know about the product and what you're selling and everything about it, but to remember your customers and what their likes are and what their dislikes are in a very broad sense of the word. You're kind of like a bartender in that thing, where you know who your regulars are, you know what they like, and if you wanted to, you could have stuff ready for people right before they walk in. So you're a vital part of that shop.
Huh?
You're a very vital part of that shop.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I was actually talking to one of the guys' wives, and she was like, "You're like the best of both worlds. You're like his favorite bartender combined with his therapist all in one. When he tells me he's coming to see you, I have no problems."
Yes. Yeah.
He comes back home happier than when he left. So
Exactly. At least I do. I know I do.
Right.
I know I do. But see if we could get some more questions in here. Anybody else field any questions? We got 5 people in here now. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button or the dislike button, whichever way you want to go. It's all good. And then don't forget to subscribe if you haven't subscribed to the channel already. But I appreciate if anybody wants to chime in, or if anybody wants to come on live and join us. Talk about cigars, cars. Make sure everybody's staying healthy.
Well, that's key right now, man. It's just, and I notice it around. I think people are starting to really pay attention and do the right thing, which is socially distance themselves and try to stay in as much as possible. I notice it just on the traffic around here in town. You get to a certain point of the night and it's crickets, man.
Yeah.
It's crickets.
Yeah. It's been super quiet. You could tell here because where I live, usually the parking lots are totally empty. Mm-hmm. And you can't find a spot in here now. I mean, everybody's home. Nobody's leaving. This is the most crowded I've ever seen my development. So hopefully we get through this year. I know they're talking about. They were talking about this week being a very bad week, and I don't think they saw the numbers they were expecting to see. And now they're talking about loosening up some of the restrictions. So
I think we're still a little bit away from them doing that. Because again, you got to play it for a couple weeks to make sure that the rates of everything are coming back in line, plateauing, or starting to decline a bit. They're not going to pull the strings on anything until they start seeing that.
Right. Yeah.
One week is not going to give them enough confidence to say, okay, let's let people back out.
Right.
We go through, 3 weeks of it plateauing, the numbers coming back in line as to what's controllable, people doing the right thing. And then at that point, you've had a period where, you're looking at a time where those that are carriers, it should have manifested. You've got people in recovery, things like that. So it's going to take a while. And, Brett and I were talking about this, and neither one of us see a true end to kind of the way we're living right now. The earliest, middle of May, end of May. And end of May, I'm thinking is optimistic.
Right.
I think by the end of May, though, we'll have a good read on it. The medical community will have built up enough of a response. The test kits will be out there. We'll realize more about what's going on, who it's really affecting more. And at that point, you can start saying, okay, we've got a better scope on this whole situation. We can let life go back to somewhat normal with people still being cautious.
Right.
And right. I believe that when this is done, people are going to be cautious as a whole for a while anyway. I mean, socially, I think some things are going to change with society. And the way people interact and, just personal space and things like that.
Yes, I agree. And we had talked about, I think a lot of businesses are going to maybe revamp their whole model. I think a lot of businesses are going to realize that they can have more people working from home. They could have smaller buildings and not
a physical footprint, if you will.
Right, and not have a physical footprint. That's a great way of saying it. So the reason why I'm looking at my phone is because I got Jason texting me, "Can you see me?" And I'm like, "No, I can't see you." I don't know if he's in the chat or not. But Jason, if you're in the chat and you want to come in, shoot me a text and I'll send you the. There he is. Hold on. What is he doing?
Uh-oh.
He said he's watching me on the TV. But let me send him the link real quick and see if he wants to join.
Yeah.
Let me do that real quick. There we go. So hopefully we can get him in there. I know he's not smoking. You can just walk over here if you really wanted to.
Put him 6 feet behind you.
But he might grab his phone. I mean, obviously he's watching me on TV. I don't know if he's streaming to his phone, to the phone from the TV.
He must be.
I don't know if if he has a smart TV, he can just go on YouTube and do it that way. But let's see if he joins up here in a second.
Well, I mean, he can connect to the stream on his phone and just stream it to the TV that way.
Yeah. But I don't know if he can. And Mark, who wanted to come in tonight and show his 55, is still in Luray. No problem. So keep that for next time. But I did have a car lined up. And then the other guy who was going to show his car didn't show up either. So, Jason, press that link I just sent you. Or just come over. But anyway. Oh, there he is. Hold on. Bam. There he is.
There he is.
I'm trying to. I don't want to get any feedback. Well, I got you on. I got you cast into the TV, so I gotta turn one of you off because it'll echo.
Anyway. Oh, there you. I heard that delay. So
Well,
anyway,
go ahead.
you're not smoking anything because you're inside the house.
Yeah. No, I'm not smoking anything.
So
Yeah, it's a crappy night to be outside, man.
It got chilly.
Yeah,
it did get chilly. It did.
chilly and a little breezy on top of it.
So let's see what we got here. We got
That's not going to work.
totally agree with Prem. The apex in Virginia isn't expected until the end of May. Some prediction. So I think it would be relax. They would. You don't think they'll be relaxing anytime soon? There will be some level of restrictions into July, in my opinion. Okay, true. And he's in New York, so they are like right at the epicenter.
Is he in the city?
He's right outside of New Rochelle.
Okay.
Which was he's like a town over from New Rochelle, which is where the main really where, for lack of a better phrase, the shit hit the fan really early on. And my cousin Steven, who's an avid cigar smoker, who was posting pictures of him working on his car today while he was smoking, he's right in the middle of that. He's right in New Rochelle. So there's a lot of different aspects of the virus affecting a lot of people. I know the people in New York are having a really tough time. But Jason, what is your so you know that I like a mild cigar, so I like them Connecticut. Where are you in that range? What's your favorite stick?
As far as a stick, typically I like to smoke. Usually my go-to is a Robusto, but really it just depends on my mood. Sometimes I like it dark and heavy and full, and sometimes I like it light and airy and crisp. So just kind of depends on the mood, really. I kind of like them all, but I usually lend myself to go to a Robusto. Usually what I typically like to smoke if I'm buying.
Right.
Yeah.
And when you're with me, you're not buying. So. No. It seems like this is a family reunion. So my other cousin Michael's like, well, "What's up, bitches?" Michael, how you doing, brother? So I know you're pretty upset that Ocean City's, and Jason probably doesn't know, but Ocean City officially canceled today. So,
Are you lighting up another one?
Spot in Lake George. But
Oh, he is. Maybe I should just go next door and smoke a cigar.
Maybe I should just go next door. That's funny.
You open the garage, you can slide under the door.
It'll mess with his lights.
who's that, Sandy?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only other person in the house, right?
Yeah, the dog's sleeping.
You want to come over and just smoke?
Sure, I'll come over. I'll be over in like 5.
All right, dude.
All right, I'm leaving.
Bye. Boom.
That's funny.
So speaking of which, let me go open the front door for him. Hold on.
So if anybody else has got any other questions,
All right. Sorry about that.
all right.
So, but we'll see what he's gonna bring because he has a totally different. It's just amazing how he. I mean, he has a totally different palette than what I have.
It's all personal.
Yeah, it really is. So,
It is all personal.
but so the real thing is, so the last time you guys had and obviously the topics I would love to talk about, we really can't, well, we could discuss, but nothing is really coming into play because of what's going on with the virus. Everything's kind of put on a halt. But you guys had that cigar and Scotch or what the hell was it?
Oh, cigar and whiskey over at Denim and Pearl?
No, you had it over at Giuseppe's. Yes, the front door's open.
Ah, yeah, that was the cigar dinner.
Yes.
Yeah, the cigar dinner.
And that was fantastic.
Yeah, and
So-
every year we did basically we were pairing we had Balmoral, which we were representing, and we had the rep there. And then we had the liquor rep that had Glenfiddich with her, I want to say.
Right.
Correctly. So it was a good pairing. And of course, the restaurant did great with the food. So it was a good night. Fun night.
Was a great night. And I want to, while we're talking about Giuseppe's, let me send out my
Can't see it, man. Can't see it.
You got a glare. Let me take your cell phone off.
Yeah, you take the cell phone off. We're not really social distancing.
Well,
That's all right.
6 feet.
Hey. 6 inches from you in the car the other day. So what
Here we go. This is a Christmas gift. We'll see if it's any good.
an aging room, huh?
Yeah.
I can't see which one it is.
It says Nicaragua.
Okay. There you go. I see it now. Yeah. Good smoke.
But so hopefully some of these guys keep coming on again. But it's getting late now. It's almost 10 o'clock.
Yeah, I'm gonna dip out here soon. Stick on for a few more minutes.
So you couldn't
See
see me
what comes in.
No, I can see you popped up at the bottom.
after you sent me the link.
Yes.
But not when I was on YouTube.
No.
Okay.
No. You're probably just in the chat.
Well, I don't have an account. So it was like,
So you just guessed.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was just a guest.
Yeah, I got you. But anyway. So are you guys going to plan on having any more of the dinners with the reps? You guys always have somebody at the top.
We were actually just starting to think about one when all this started going down. So we kind of got put on hold. You know,
Gotcha.
kind of sucks.
It does. It put a damper on everything and kind of. So my dad. So everybody's got a story on where it all started. So for me, 3 people played a huge role in my cigar life. Let's just say it that way. So before anything, my Uncle Joe was a huge cigar smoker. And to be honest, I think that generation, even my father, when my father smoked, it was like the Optimos, get him at 7-Eleven. I mean, he never smoked anything, great. And my father spent more time chewing on it than he did smoking. It was, I'm going to go cut the grass, put it in his mouth. There's times he wouldn't even like the damn thing, and he would just just have it in his mouth and just chew on it. And when my cousin Philip, who's in here, kind of started everybody on like the next generation of the good stuff. He was the first person to get the humidor, and wherever he went, he was smoking. And I actually think maybe he started out with the Tiparillos for a while. Then he moved on to bigger and better things, and then I started smoking, and then got my father involved, and I used to yell and scream at my father because I'd give him, like a $9 stick, and he'd be chewing on it again, and I'm like, no. So, but now that he's retired, he's becoming a very avid cigar smoker, and enjoys his nights by the pool in Florida, just kind of chilling with a cigar in his mouth. And it's kind of a great thing that we share together.
What a trendsetter he is.
Well, that's Philip's brother. That's my other cousin, Cliff. He's a trendsetter. He is. Philip is king. And then, I love those aspects. I love when my father's around and we just sit and we bullshit and we smoke and we just kind of talk. It's great father and son time that I really cherish. And again, that falls in with the social aspect of it. That
well, you've been helping him step his game up. I mean, you send him the little care packages.
I do. I try to keep him involved.
Look, that nice new lighter, that tactical, which he's got to be loving.
I love my tactical. I love it. Let me get a good close up of this because I think Philip will like this if he hasn't had this yet. So this is my tactical. Let me get rid of that too.
Yeah, and Dad's got the matching one, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Correctly?
So
yeah.
That's my tactical. It's got a belt clip on the back. And this thing is an absolute killer. It is a 3-jet. It is phenomenal. I love this damn thing. I really do. It's got weight in it. It's so heavy. It's nice. It's just amazing. It's a great lighter.
I'm glad you're enjoying it, man.
But
that's when they're discontinuing.
Yes, so they're discontinuing. Yeah, so I love my duettas, but I might have to.
I'll find you something else.
You have any more of those in stock?
We got a shipment on the way. Let me see what comes in.
Because I'm going to buy a box before they go away.
The 10s, but yeah, let me see what we get in with the Balmorals, and I'll let you know. I'll text you.
What's up, Timer 66? How are you, brother? You got your lighter on you?
Yeah.
Because I bought you. You get the one I bought you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this is the one I bought Jason for Christmas or your birthday?
Christmas, I think it was.
Yeah, this is a good one too. Let me get rid of this. So this is the one I bought Jason.
Ah.
And this is another good one. It's got the
punch on the bottom.
Punch on the got the punch on the bottom.
Yep.
This is a
double.
Yep. Yep. This is a good lighter too.
Oh yeah, those things are like Old Faithful, man. They don't break.
You doing good, Timer? So am I. Thanks for coming in. I appreciate it. So, Timer, are you a cigar smoker? Come over so you can on camera. See, it's backwards.
No, you gotta be like over here, right? I could be like
You're good. You're fine. You're good.
photobomb. So this is what the setup is. Huh? Pretty simple. There you go.
There you go. So, besides family, because I got 4 people in here, and one of them is Michael, Cliff, and Philip. They're all family. So, my live streams would suck if I didn't have my family come in every day.
You gotta start somewhere.
Got to start somewhere. So, Timer is not
Get him out from the vent.
a cigar smoker. Well, I did have a couple of car guys lined up. One of them just shot me a text saying he's still out and he's not going to be able to make it. But he's got multiple cars. So he's got a Cobra that he just finished. He was in here. He was in here a couple of days ago. He's also got a 55. That's pretty phenomenal, which he wanted to show off tonight, but he couldn't make it. And then one of the other guys that I was supposed to have in, he didn't come in. So the hardest part of this whole gig is like scheduling people, trying to get people to actually show up. So again, I appreciate Prem showing up.
Well, thanks for having me, man.
Of course, Timer's just a car freak. As far as freaks go, that's a good freak to be. So
You still puffing on that Gurkha?
no, this is your
You went to the Navigator.
yep,
Yeah. Round
Yep.
2.
round 2.
Would you smoke first, the Gurkha?
Yeah, I always smoke the Kirkus. I got like a box and a half of those. So got enough.
I keep them well stocked.
Yep. So that was the other thing was I have a very hard time regulating my humidor. So that's another thing. So I try to always keep it stocked. I let the cigars do the heavy lifting. But it's always I tend probably not to buy as much as I smoke. So I'm always dwindling down too far before I restock.
Yeah.
So excuse me.
And that'll cause some spikes. The biggest issue is where we live, especially this time of the year. You're going through days where temperature's warm. You're not running the heat in the house. The next day you're running the heat in the house. When you're running the heat, it's dry heat.
Right.
And humidors are made of wood, so they breathe. Moisture's inside, it bleeds out. And then we'll get to a time of the year where, in a month or two, you're going to be like, well, I was running everything the same way. Now all of a sudden it's spiking the other way, from the natural humidity in the air. And it's a constant battle. I mean, trust me, it's a constant battle with the big one. And it's much easier on a big humidor than it is on a small humidor, but it's always a battle. It's always a battle.
Yeah. So, and then there's always that controversy that people have. And again, I don't think it matters because you've explained it to me, but a lot of people, I don't think, don't understand that. So some come in the cellophane and some don't. And it's not really cellophane. It's a different material that lets the cigar breathe. Because a lot of people probably ask, and I know I have, do I leave it in or do I take it out when I put it in my humidor? And you've explained to me that it doesn't really matter. But if you can go into that a little bit.
So for me, my personal thing is, if I have a cigar that comes in cello, and it's something I plan on aging for a long time, then I'll pull it out of the cellar. I have a humidor that's an aging humidor. In other words, the stuff that's in there on average is 3 years or older. Okay.
Okay.
And usually stuff that goes in that humidor, I'll pull out because I'm not going through that humidor often. I'm not rifling through and looking for cigars. You know, I'll go in, and when I'm in that humidor, I'll rotate stuff. I'll move stuff around sporadically, but I only go in it ever so often to either add something or pull something out that I want to smoke. Now, my everyday cigars, now I'll leave them wrapped in a cello because here's the thing: when you're smoking like we're all smoking right now, you're rifling through your humidor, right? The cello at least gives the cigars some level of protection. If you think about it, while you're tossing them around.
Okay. Right. And that's why some manufacturers put the band up at the other end to keep it for when you're rifling around, you're not splitting the cigar. It keeps everything right.
Not cracking the end. You know, foot bands are a whole different thing because you have to be really careful when you take them off. Because there's such a small band on most cigars, a lot of times the adhesive that they use tends to bleed over a little bit into the cigar. So you have to be really careful pulling them off because the same thing it was designed to do, it ends up causing. So, you know, you ever take one off real fast and it rips off part of the wrapper leaf?
Yes.
You know, so it's just, you got to be careful when you're doing that. You know, and that's one reason they do it. The other reason is just to be, from a marketing perspective, different. When it's sitting there next to their other cigars, you know, in a facing in a humidor, oh, I know this one because I remember that footband.
Right.
You know, they'll use it to define a Maduro away from, you know, a Habano or a natural where the two wrapper leaves may be close in color. You know, just because it's a Maduro doesn't mean it's always going to be that black, dark cigar. You know, I have Maduros in my humidor that you sit next to its lighter counterpart, and you're like, unless you know which one you have in your hand, you'd have a hard time telling them apart.
Okay.
You know, I mean, unless you really hold it up to light and be like, oh, this one is slightly darker, you know, and you can feel the difference in the two leaves, which, you know, again, we're getting into a whole different level of understanding what goes into rolling those things. But, you know, depending on what it is, what that wrapper leaf is, just from feel, you can tell the difference.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's just so much. And I don't think, like I said earlier, I think a lot of people just don't understand what goes in to the entire process from farm to humidor.
Start to finish.
Yeah. I just don't think a lot of people have a true aspect of the art of cigar making.
I mean, when I told you that number, that on average 300 hands touches that product from the time it's put in the ground, from the time it's a seed plucked, put in the ground, grown, harvested, aged, rolled, packaged, handled by me here, then put in your hand.
Right.
300 is the average.
Wow.
That's Corona free right there, buddy.
Hopefully they wash their hands.
Well, the great thing about cigars is, you know, once they hit a certain point, they age and they rest. You know, a lot of that touch and contact comes at the early part of its life. You know, it's not when you get into the part where you're aging the leaf, you're aging the tobacco, you're rolling it. Okay, it's getting aged again, then it's getting packaged, it's getting rested, shipped. The spaces of contact grow. If you get what I'm saying, you know? So, you know, and that again, it comes back to why we're operating the way we are right now, because yeah, I don't want that immediate contact of somebody else touching the cigars, you know?
Right.
Breathing on them. You know, somebody goes in there in that humidor and coughs, and now I'm like, oh Lord, what just happened here? So the only way to alleviate that is for Brett and I to be the only two people that come in contact with that product.
Right.
And with us operating the way we are, both of us have fairly simple lifestyles. I mean, our time is spent at the shop. We don't come in contact with a lot of people outside of the shop. And even when we're here, the precautions we're taking just in operating day to day. I mean, my hands are so dry right now from all the washing. Every time I deal with a customer, wash my hands. If a customer gives me cash, it's multiple washes, especially if they want their cigar cut by me. So I come in, I put the cash down, wipe my hands off, go and pick up the product, come back out, ring it up, okay? Wash my hands again before I cut it and give it to them. Then come back in and wash my hands again.
Right.
Because now I've had contact with somebody. So in just one transaction, I've washed my hands 3 times.
Yeah. It's definitely making the process harder for you.
But it's for everyone's safety. I don't mind it. I keep a bottle of lotion next to the sink just for that. But have to, man. But it's for everybody's safety.
Yeah, true.
I mean, think about it. Where's the first place you're taking and putting this? Right up to your face.
Yep.
Right up to your face.
True.
It's a consumable. Now, granted, it's a consumable that you set on fire and it gets hot, so it's probably killing anything that's on it once it's burning. But that doesn't help when you're holding this end of it that's not hot.
Right. Right. Well, like I said earlier, your knowledge of it really astounds me, and I appreciate everything you do when we go in there, how helpful you are. And you just, you've definitely enhanced my cigar smoking experience, and I love the shop and your and the way that you cater to the customer. So I'm not going to keep you any longer. I know you got things to do. You're in the shop now. I know you gotta, want to go home and rest. So you've had a long day. So I appreciate you coming in. Like I said, I thank you for everything that you do and keeping us safe and still being open, which is always a great thing. Because I know, I have my 2 a day now habit. So
I mean, when you're sitting at home and there's nothing else to do, it's, hey, I mean, and right there, I mean, you can still have some community. I mean, look at you and Jason. You can still have some community. And cigars allows you to do that. Because when guys smoke together, they're not sitting 2 feet apart. I mean, unless they're in a lounge situation where you're on a couch together or, the chairs happen to be that close. But if you guys were sitting in the driveway right now, you'd be 4, 5, 6 feet apart from each other without even thinking about it.
Exactly. And that's probably where we're going to end up as soon as the stream is over.
So anyway, boys, I will see you, Frank. I'm always here if you want to do this again.
So why don't you really fast for everybody listening, shout out what's the website? You guys do mail orders, so maybe we can get you some
All right, so right now our website, we have a new website being built, and it's taking a little longer because we're trying to add the e-commerce component to it, which will open up some flexibility for us in terms of allowing us to do things. We don't plan on looking at, okay, we're going to sell, okay, you can go online and order 2 sticks, we'll send it to you. No. Our e-commerce thing is going to be more of kind of the custom packages that we do right now that tend to be really popular, but just available more on a broader level, if you will. Right now, a lot of things that we offer through our Facebook page, which is Tobaccology Worldwide. So, I mean, if it's something that interests you, that's where you'd want to go and check us out.
COLOG1. So it's tobaccologworldwide.com?
No, it's on Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, on Facebook.
Gotcha.
So each shop has its own page. So Tobaccology Manassas has its own page. Tobaccology Haymarket has its own page. And we set up Tobaccology Worldwide to kind of be our community page, if you will, of like the true cigar smokers that want to get together, connect, show what they're smoking, talk about what they're smoking, you know, and just be a kind of a community page. So that's what it is. It's Tobaccology Worldwide.
Okay. Awesome. Again, I thank you for coming in. I really appreciate it. I'll probably see you tomorrow at some point.
I'll be here.
I want to thank Malu for coming in earlier, talking about a woman's perspective on as a female cigar smoker. I'm sorry.
She'll jump back in too. If you want her to come back on, she'll have no problem. She's awesome. She's awesome.
No, I would love to have her come back on. Maybe do a whole episode on just women smokers, because it's when you go to some of the big smokes and all that, it's a whole new thing that's truly coming about now, that you see a lot more at the events, a lot more women smokers, and it's in a extracurricular activity that was really male dominated. It's definitely swaying to become very diversified. It really is.
It's great to see. And on an ending note, we were talking about the big smoke there for a second. Me and a couple of guys were supposed to go down to that, and I'd have been, just coming back by about a week or so, a couple days. And this year, Big Smoke and the Whiskey Fest were actually happening together. So it was one event. And, of course, with everything going on, it got canceled. Well, Big Smoke is postponed, but Whiskey Fest, the pairing as they were doing it as one big event, is not going to happen again. Like, not this year. So
right,
we got to wait and see if they'll try to do it again next year. But can you imagine that, going down in one event, having all your whiskeys, your bourbons, and all your cigars and everything right there in one event?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's, that would be phenomenal. And that brings up a good point that, I know you guys already partner with Malarkey, but, because you guys have when you guys do the crawfish boil, Tin Cannon Brewery is there. But, events at Malarkey and tastings, I know they're not going to let you smoke inside that place, but,
So one of the things that's happening, not to cut you off there, but one of the things that's happening is Malarkey's taking over the rest of that building. Okay. And one of the plans is that whole loading dock area,
yes,
since essentially won't be utilized as a loading dock for most of it, is to turn part of it into a smoking area.
Oh, that's great.
So you'll be able to actually have your service and get your drinks and be able to smoke. Now, you'll be outside, but who cares?
Still, yeah, absolutely.
Who cares?
Absolutely.
So, and we do things with other distillers. Like, I've done events with KO where I'll set up in that little patio, that kind of patio area they have up front. So there's a lot of fun to be had there. It's just it all depends on the venue and whether they're accepting of the whole cigar thing. And most are. And what you find is, in a lot of these cases, the owners are smokers. They're cigar smokers too.
Right.
So, of course, they're going to be accepting at that point.
Exactly.
So, but at any rate, I will see you boys. It's been fun.
You got it. Thank you very much. If you guys are interested, find Tobaccology on Facebook, Tobaccology Worldwide. Get your orders in since you can't go shopping, and smoke them if you got them.
And here's the other thing, just on a side note, if somebody is really worried about the contact thing, we're doing curbside, but we're also taking phone-in orders where you can pay over the phone and literally drive up, and we'll hand you your package, and out you go.
Right, and that's great too. That's absolutely great.
Yeah. So
you guys have that outdoor area if you guys want to come and hang out. You sit outside if it's a beautiful day. Social distance.
As you two guys found out the other day. So
I took my shirt off that night, and I had a farmer's tan already. It was that day was just a beautiful day. It was a beautiful day.
That it was.
So I appreciate you coming in. Thanks again. Shout out to everybody at Tobaccoology. I appreciate it. And thanks to Jason, too, for popping in.
Oh, yeah.
Next door. And
Long trip.
and to Prem, thanks a lot. I'll let you go. You have a great night. And I'll probably, like I said, I'll probably pop in there tomorrow.
All right, man. I'll see you.
You got it,
Prem,
brother.
have a good one.
Thanks, man.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So now, if you want to just keep going.
We are still going.
Oh, okay. All right. So follow up your smoking questions, right? Personally. So I'm more of a punch guy. You're more of a cutter.
True. And it's got to do with me because of the draw.
Mhm.
So I was explaining to him the other day. You mentioned it was like sucking on a McDonald's shake.
Mhm.
But I like I like the easy draw, and I like a cigar that's maybe not so tightly wrapped, because we were talking about how cigar smoking is kind of a social event,
Right.
And I probably take 3 or 4 minutes between puffs, and if it has to go out, then you relight it, and it doesn't taste the same, and to that aspect of
Right.
it at all. So I like a cigar that is definitely gonna stay lit while I talk. But I appreciate you coming over.
Yeah, man.
Guys, I think we're going to call it a day. It's been over 2 hours. I appreciate everybody popping in. If you're still in here, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already, if you like content. I probably won't be on again till next week, because this weekend is Easter, and I got work this weekend at my real job. I appreciate you guys coming in. Like I said, hit that like button or the dislike button. It doesn't matter. Whichever one you feel, you're not going to hurt my feelings. Subscribe to the channel if you like this content. Again, Ocean City has been canceled. I know it's sad. Everybody's upset, but we'll make do. It's probably the right thing for them to do, for everybody's safety. And I appreciate you watching tonight. And we'll catch you next time on Bangin' Gears. Good night, everybody. Happy Easter.
Good night. Happy Easter.